Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Brickey here. Today's adventure, Disneyland shows us their hand on what's to come with the new AP membership program, whatever new that's getting ready to come. For some reason, they already decided to start talking about it. This is my fifth video where we break down everything new that's happening in the world of annual pass news. Let's get started. So let's start right here. The curious thing to me is that 1 week after they announced that the annual pass program would be sunsetting, they send out a survey to select annual pass members. Now, not me, because for some reason, Disney hates me. I have tried several times to get added onto their email list. I can't get an email from the AP program to save my life. I call, I click all the boxes. For whatever reason, they will not send me an email or a piece of mail to my house. It's like I'm begging a company to spam me, and for once in my life, they just won't do it. But for other folks, they were given a survey that shows what Disney is looking to create once they can return to a time that annual passes can get back into the park, or an annual pass program or a membership program. I'm just going to call it annual passes to keep it simple, but we should all be prepared for some sort of different branding, different name to signify that this is a new time in the park's history. But the fact that the cancellation and then the survey would be 1 week together really shows me that they're trying to get ahead of a very, very bad headline. They want to stop the bleeding on all the news headlines that keep going out through traditional media, internet media, over on YouTube of just annual passports done, canceled, finished, forever. A lot of people emotionally reacted to this in a way where they weren't able to see the message that was hidden inside of the original statement. Like, they want to get ahead of this because they want to retain these customers. They don't want the word on the street be like, oh, annual pass, that's gone forever. They want people to know that it is sunsetted. They want people to know that it is being rebirthed, rebooted, and coming back. So what that says to me is 1 week they tell you, hey, we're sunsetting the program. The next week they start surveying some people on what the new program looks like. We're back, baby. We are back. And can I also say, enough of these late Friday afternoon, weekend, Sunday morning press releases? I mean, come on, I'm trying to have a weekend here, and I'm not going to make a video over the weekend, but so many people did, and I really appreciate anyone who showed up to watch my video today. By the way, make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on, because I do go live from the Disneyland Resort every Tuesday. You can join me for a fun lap around the park. And then I go live on Fridays doing Disneyland news with you, the viewer. What do you want to talk about that's happened in the previous week in the world of Disneyland news? So let's start right here. Let's start with the new statement that came out with Kim Potrock in an interview that he did with the OC Register, and understand what it is he's trying to say to us again, because it seems like he's trying to do a little bit of damage repair on the press release that went out a week earlier on the sunsetting of the program. We're trying to understand, what do people want in this new world? When do they want access to our parks? How frequently do they want access to our parks? With what level of spontaneity? With what level of value? All those kinds of things and many more. This is what they're looking for in the survey. They're trying to understand, how often do you want to go to the park? How spontaneous are your trips to the park? What is your comfortability with access to Disneyland? Are you cool with your family going 4 times a year, once a month? Do you need to go once a week? Are you a once a day visitor? Like, they're trying to figure out what is your needs for their park and how can they custom fit something to your needs. But what's also interesting is they're being more verbose this time on, we want to let you know that we're trying to figure out a solution for you. We're not icing you out of the park. We're just trying to figure out how to make everybody happy with what the new world's going to look like, and also with the program that we want to reboot. But the most interesting thing that he said in the interview to me was this statement. This is not designed to limit choice and flexibility. It's designed to enhance choice and flexibility, which means they're trying to sell us on the idea of choice and flexibility is a good thing. And to what I would say is, we already had unlimited flexibility. We already had unlimited choice on being able to pick a pass that we could afford and go to the resort whenever we wanted to without anything coming between us and the front gate, other than blockout days. But you figured all that out ahead of time when you bought an annual passport that fit your budget and your park needs. So they're really trying to sell us that flexibility and choice is a good thing. But what I'm saying is, we already had choice. So they're trying to sell us on the idea of flexibility. And in the last statement, flexibility was a big part of what he was saying that we covered in our last video. So to me, the word choice means money. What are you willing to spend money on? And flexibility means discount. Where are you willing to give up some things in exchange for a pass that fits your budget? But one thing's sure, the program is for sure changing. Now, in today's video, I'm not focusing on the exact AP packages were mentioned because, quite frankly, in the survey, they threw too much data at folks. Over 50 pages that look like this, with over a dozen new package options. And most of these options, each page would sort of be a range of options that they might launch. And all of these pages, except for one or two, had annual passes or a passport listed as one of the options. Basically giving you a menu. If this were the menu, what would you purchase and how many? And on all of these options, they also had multi-day tickets, which I think multi-day tickets are going to get a lot of us over the hump of not having any annual passports, but we'll get to that in a minute. And the reason why I'm not focusing on these packages, this is something that is evolving. This is a moving target on what you're going to get, how much you're going to pay. So focusing on this, I believe right now is kind of missing the big data that dropped on us. What are the new offerings that they are giving to us in this choice and flexibility? The new offerings to me are like a saying that I use a lot over on the podcast. The bridge that bends is the bridge that doesn't buckle, meaning a bridge has to be able to bend to take all the weight that it holds each and every day, or else it'll just buckle and crumble. So what they're looking to do is find a way for us to be able to bend so the program doesn't buckle. Let's focus on the 4 tiers or the 4 big things that we're all paying for. And these are the decisions that we have to make as a consumer on what fits us going into this new version of the program. Number 1, number of blockout days. Anybody who has an annual pass is completely familiar with the idea of a blockout day. You buy a pass ahead of time that tells you you can go all year long for more money, or you're willing to give up busier dates, weekends, holidays, or for some people, the entire summer because you don't need to spend a lot, you don't need to go a lot. But blockout days, that's nothing new to us. Everybody purchases according to their budget and the time that they need. Now, this is where it gets very different for all of us. The numbers of days in advance that tickets could be reserved. So now it seems, regardless of the passport that you buy, you will have to reserve your date at the park ahead of time, which adds a lot of different factors of how big of a window do you want to pay for to be able to book your reservations? And number 3, number of reservations held at one time. The more reservations that you can hold gives you an opportunity to lay out a calendar and say, okay, these are dates that I know that I want to go to Disneyland. These are dates that people are coming in from out of town. These are vacation days that I want to use. It gives you the idea to sort of lay out the amount of time you want to go there. Every time you show up, a reservation then opens up. So for people that are looking to save money or go a lot, it's just going to have to be a new rhythm of every time you go to the park, making sure you immediately book your next visit to the park. That's what I will be doing to try to consistently go once a week for my own personal fun, but to also cover the park for the channel. And then the last little bit is parking included or not. And there's lots of different perks, but parking is a really big one because you might not always buy merchandise. You might not always buy food, but you're probably always going to use parking. So parking does get added in as a 4th tier on how much parking discount are you willing to pay up front for. So the major thing is that reservations are here to stay. That's going to be the new normal. I'm not going to freak out about it because I go to Disneyland on a pretty routine basis. I genuinely know when people are coming in from out of town. I genuinely know when I'm going to go over and film content for the channel. So the reservations, I think, just add a level of responsibility to the annual pass program, or a responsibility to you to make sure that you keep up with it. But I don't see this as a bad thing. I mean, yeah, spontaneous trips, those are what we all covet, just being able to go whenever we want to go. But if I look back, and I'm honest, over the last handful of years, there weren't so many of those spontaneous trips. I genuinely know where my life is going and how Disneyland plays a part in it. The reason why you should be prepared for reservations is reservations, this idea was in every annual pass program or offering in the survey. All of them had a reservation system added to them. So this is something that you should get prepared for and maybe start doing an audit on how you use the park in the last 4 or 5 years when this restriction wasn't even in your mind. You might be able to go back and get a good idea of how you Disney. But essentially, the more reservations that you need, that equals the more amount of money you should be willing to pay. And it seemed like the number that they flirted with the most option on all these pages of different annual passes you could buy was 2, 4, and 6. So someone like myself, I believe I could get by on a 4 pass system. That would give me the ability to know that I could go to the park once a week for a month. So after my A trip or my first trip concludes, I would need to go over to the website and then book my E or my 5th visit to the park, as I would then have taken my first, moved it over to the next, and now I have secured 4 more reservations to the park. I would need to do that each and every week to know that I have my Tuesday visits locked and loaded. But a 6 tier for someone like myself would give me the ability to keep my 4 visits going, have a couple of extra reservations for people coming in from out of town, or that date when you know that big thing's going to drop, or just simply a date night. So the next thing about reservations is the reservation window that fits your needs. Do you need a big window, which gives you 120 days to select dates that you need? Or are you more comfortable with a tighter window where you're just going to kind of live in the present? To me, it seems that a larger window of 120 days would give you the ability to pick dates that are very, very important to you so that you could reserve those. However, if you pick a day too far into 120 days, you might not have any options to go. So you might need to play a game of chicken of, well, I know I want to go at the end of my 120 days, but after I go this week, I'll make sure to book when Grandma and Pop are coming into town. The other problem I could foresee with a tighter window of 30 days or 60 days, and by the way, the numbers that they toyed with the most was 60, 90, 120 on the size of the window that you could set a reservation in. But on a tighter window, you might be looking at a window of dates where everyone else has already called dibs on those dates, making it harder to grab a reservation. It didn't seem like grabbing dates with the Flex Pass was that big of a deal, but then again, back then, only a certain portion of annual pass holders were on that system, not all of them. So the bigger the window, the more options, the more money you should be willing to pay. But if you can cut it close and you're cool with ghost riding the whip, you could go shorter and save some money. And then obviously, more days available is going to equal more money. The more amount that you want to have dates locked and loaded for your arrival at the resort, that's just going to cost you more. I do believe that I could safely get by with 4 dates, but if it wasn't that much more, I would probably lean into the 6 just to have that flexibility. 2 dates would scare me. 2 dates would be cutting it too close for an extreme user as myself, but it's all going to just be dependent on how these packages stack up. But reservation dates, the more that you hold, the more you should be willing to spend. So basically the way the whole new program works, looking at the top 3 big pillars that we're spending money on, removing parking out of the equation, it's number of reservations plus reservation window equals price. To quickly summarize, you want more options, you better be willing to pay for it. If you're flexible, you can create a passport on a budget. But the big thing is reservations are going to be here to stay, and even before the pass system gets rebirthed or regenerated, because you're going to need to reserve just for single day tickets during the opening of the resort. You'll have to buy a ticket, book the date, just going rando is way in the past. It will be interesting to see if this system stays forever or after California no longer has to deal with state mandated guidelines due to public health concerns. Will they have a tier where the reservation system gets turned off? I tend to think that this is something that will stay for the entire long haul moving forward, because this gives Disneyland a very good idea each and every day on their calendar to know within reason how many guests are going to show up. This allows them to staff the park properly, and this also allows them with 60, 90, 100-day windows combined with ticket sales, hotel reservations. This gives them an idea on how to order supplies for the park as well. And then furthermore, on times when they see a soft spot in the calendar, they would be able to do SoCal Select type tickets where you could buy 4, 5, 6 tickets for a certain price, giving people that maybe weren't able to go along with the new passport system the ability to go, okay, our family now has 5, 6 visits inside of this 30, 60, 90-day window, or maybe a window for the entire year. Trust me, they will always keep the park at a certain threshold of busy. But this system, from a business perspective, gives them a lot more self-confidence on staffing and supplying the park. I don't see them wanting to let that efficiency in their business. To summarize, reservations, I believe they are here to stay for the very, very long haul, maybe forever, but something that you should be prepared to see go away. Monthly payments, I believe, are gone. I think just an easy way to limit the amount of passports that are sold is just to eliminate the monthly payment program. A lot of people have criticized for years that has bloated the system, bringing on way too many APs. If they're looking for a simple way to cut back, folks, this will be that way. I was always worried that they would get rid of monthly payments, so I've always paid upfront at the beginning of every year because I literally have lived my life in fear of I cannot lose my annual pass. And that's why I'm on my best behavior when I'm at the resort. So let's move over to pricing, because I know you're trying to figure out, can I still afford this? What is this going to cost? And a lot of people have been accusing Disney of using this as a way to raise prices. But so far, everything that they have showed us, the pricing structure ranges from about $3.99 to $13.99, and that's right inside the ballpark of what APs cost in the 2019-2020 pricing structures. Like, they are right where they were before the pandemic began. And something I would love to just dispel. I love the park as a magic trick and as a place to go for escapism, but I also love it and respect it as a business. I'm very interested with the way that they run their business, and the company can do wrong. I'm not going to be a creator that just gives you toxic positivity. Disney, in my eyes, do a lot of things right, but they also have room to do things wrong. I won't just tell you things are great because they're doing it. You have my word on that. But I also want to lead you in a good mental state so that you can feel comfortable with everything and not feel like the world's out to get you. So what I would like to explain to you is this whole reset of the AP program is not an evil plot to profit off of the pandemic. It is, though, a very convenient time to reboot a system that's nearly 40 years old. Disney keeping this in the current pricing structure before the pandemic happened is very on par with how they've been running the park for the last couple of years. They've been very cautious not to do the gouging the customers. The way that they rolled out Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with a fair, free way for people to make reservations. They didn't do any advanced tickets, although they could have charged a mint. It showed to me that the leadership of the company right now is looking at everything for the long haul and not the quick return. Keeping the pricing on par with where it was, I think that's a good indication of they're just trying to reboot the program. Now, what they could do, though, is essentially use the same pricing to understand I'm a $1,400 guy. And in their mind, they know, well, everything's going to go up X%. So they might be using the same pricing to try to keep people on what their familiarity of budget is, and then just know everything's going to go up cost of living expense anyways. That could be something they're doing. If they were to do that within a cost of living percentage, then I would say fair play. Everything gets more expensive. But I just don't see them using this moment to gouge their customers, because how would that help them at all? A quick profit, but all the negative press and losing a lot of customers? I just don't see it. So we can all calm down. Parking, the unfun thing to talk about or spend money on, but unfortunately is a part of going to the park. And the parking prices that they showed over the survey were literally all across the lot. I mean, they were just here and there and percentages. It was really, really wild. But this is essentially what you should be prepared for when you think about parking. If you want to save money on your pass, then go for no parking. But no, each and every trip is going to cost you more if you show up in a vehicle. So they were offering some parking discounts, which would be nice to pay a little bit of money up front and to save a little bit of money at each trip. But something like that can really add up over time if you go a lot. And then free parking is just always going to equal a more expensive pass. It's a lot more money up front, but it's an extreme saving for day of use and for going to the park all the time. I ran the numbers on someone like myself. If I can't give free parking, if they give me 50% off or any sort of discount, if it were to go from $10 to cost going once a week, that's a $500 expenditure over the year. And if it was a different discount, say I'm at $12.50 for parking, that would be $625 for the year. So parking is the type of thing that can really add up. This is where you need to do your homework on how often do you go and what are you really paying for parking, and is it worth a few $100 up front over the long haul. But if there's no more monthly payments and you're doing this on a budget, they might have you coming and going where you can only afford a lower price ticket, but then you're going to spend that parking money all throughout the years, $20, $25 each time you visit. I just said to you, I will call out Disney when it's time to call out Disney. Expensive parking is insane. I mean, for me to pay $500 on top of a $1,400 pass, come on, Disney. You've already paid for the garages. I know that it is such a free way to make extra money, and I do understand the idea behind parking, but you've got to have some pass levels that don't have parking included in it. I mean, take it from a guy that worked a parking lot when I was in college. It's one of the greatest scams on earth. So now that we've looked at sort of the 4 main tiers that they're rolling out, it doesn't seem that different. It just is going to take a little bit more planning and maybe a little bit more budgeting for all of us. But there were some new terms that were released. And in a way to try to take all this data and streamline it, I want to show you the new terms that are popping up, and these could be interesting ways that things are going to change. Anytime reservations. The number of reservations that can be made anytime, regardless of reservation availability. For example, if a reservation day is already full, you can redeem an anytime reservation to obtain a reservation for that date. Anytime reservations cannot be redeemed on blockout dates. Okay, let's do this in regular people talk. If you need to go to the resort, but it's already booked up for people, you can use a couple of your anytime reservations and be like, no, I need to go there that date. My friend's coming in from out of town, or we have a family thing that we're doing. I really, really need to go on this date. And you can just dip in, even if it's already booked for your level of pass. You can do this a few times a year. But the more of these you need, obviously, the more that you should be willing to pay. But as they said, you can't just put yourself in there on Christmas Day if you don't pay to be there during Christmas Day. So you'll still have to stay inside of your calendar. So someone who buys a cheaper passport that doesn't have summer days included, this isn't a way to like sneak in a couple of summer days. You have to first have had access to the day. It's just getting you in when it's already full, which then would also say, do you really want to fight to go on a day where it's probably going to be pretty busy? Block out day tickets. Separate theme park tickets can be used on days you are unable to access the theme park due to your pass type's access calendar. Blockout day tickets still require a reservation for entry. So this is a very interesting add-on. This is different than the anytime reservations. With a blockout day ticket, you can say, okay, I am buying the cheaper passport, which gives me no time to go in the summer. But I know that I have friends coming in the middle of July and I really want to go to Disney with my friends and I don't want to buy an additional ticket. You could use one of your blockout days to grab a date that's normally not open to you, giving you the availability to go to the park on dates outside of your passport. But you're only going to get so many of these, and like all of these things, the more of these your pass gets, the more expensive your pass will be. So you would have to think, how often would I really need to go to the resort on the days that I'm blocked out on? This could be something that could be an easy upsell, but maybe you wouldn't be able to fully take advantage of it. And once again, you're fighting to go to a time of the park when it's going to be more busy. Another thing about the blockout day tickets though, you will still have to book this as a reservation. So a blockout day ticket doesn't just get you walking up to the gate any day you want to be inside the resort. The next one is something I've been hoping they would do for a very long time. Friends and family ticket benefits. A one-day park hopper tickets, blockout dates apply, and advanced reservations are required for entry. So if you're an AP holder, you might actually be able to get a couple of tickets to bring folks with you. I've often wished that there would just be a way that you could grab a bud and take them in there and have some magic with them. Obviously, this will cost more. But another interesting thing that I wish they would have had for a really long time is this next one. Friends and family discount benefits. A reduced price on 1-day to 5-day tickets through the Disneyland Pass Holder Ticket Store. Blockout dates apply. Advanced reservations required for entry. Disneyland Pass Holder Store. I have bought so many tickets for my family. I have brought so many friends into the resort. If there was a way for me to get a discount or to earn some sort of points, I would have made a lot or have earned whatever they're giving away. This is a really great loyalty program, and I believe something that they were maybe toying with before the pandemic began. I think this is big news, but once again, more money if you need these options. Now this is where it gets kind of wild. Dedicated entrance? What? Enter the park through a dedicated entrance available only to pass holders. Now, if there was a pass holder entrance, I would love that. That would be great if I could just go over there and that's my gate to get in. But if this is an extra thing, and if this ever becomes an a la carte, I don't really know that I'd spend money on this. Even on the busiest days, it doesn't take that long to get into the resort. It would be nice to feel appreciated, but this is a kind of a wild one. But in their mind, all we got to do is just take one gate, dedicate it, man. This is a very affordable way for them to make people feel like VIP and to pass on a little bit of extra expense. Rewards program. I believe that this was something they were working on before the park shut down. One of my first videos this year in my home studio that I was lucky enough to build before the pandemic, before all this equipment became so hard to get, was AP Magic. They did a little bit of a teaser, I believe, in February where they're saying AP Magic. Now we're going to find new ways to reward all of our annual pass holders. I believe this is a system they already had in play, and they're going to slide into this to show more added value. As part of the rewards program, you can collect points based on park visits, as well as spend on merchandise, food, and beverage. Points can be redeemed for special merchandise, food and beverage, and experiences. Hey, if you're already there spending money, you should get something for it. I mean, I would peg this thing out. So I'm very excited to see this is on there. Once again, this doesn't cost them a lot, but it enriches the value. And it's a really good thing to put in when like, hey, we're doing things differently, but here are also some different ways we're going to try to reward you. It's good business. And also important to keep in mind when you're choosing your passport program, there are going to be things to consider, like how much discount do you need on food, beverage, merchandise, and special events. I mean, obviously you want to get more of a discount, but at what cost upfront? But I am very excited to see a AP pass holder store where we can buy tickets and reserve tickets and add people in to our parties, which makes sense if the park is a limited atmosphere now and I'm trying to get family coming in from New York or Kentucky, and I'm trying to make sure that I can go the same day that they're getting tickets. This would streamline that purchasing process, make sure that everybody can get there at the same time. So it does look like they're doing a lot of forecasting on how would this be used, what are some of the obstacles that our guests would see along the way, and how can we custom fit this in a way that it works, but also custom fit this rollout in a way that seems like a lot of added value for having to be ready to make some changes. So as we close today, and I know this is a longer video, but this is really big breaking news in the AP program, and I wanted to just do it in a streamlined way that made sense without a lot of drama added to it. But a couple of things to think about. Will there be like 5 of these that we can choose from, or will some of these features be a la carte? Like, will they maybe make a system where you can go in and pick everything you want, essentially build your own passport? That's something I would like to see them do, but the infrastructure on building that would be very expensive. But hey, it's Disney, they got the money because from all that parking. Something to keep in mind though, this pass program will not be available during the first 6 months or first year. You'll have to buy a ticket online and reserve your day. Those first months, 6 months to a year, that's going to be an interesting time. I believe they're going to try to get all of this situated and it will roll out afterwards. But they're talking about it now to get some positivity going, to get some good media going, because I don't think they were even prepared for what the fallout was going to be on announcing no more annual passes. But keep in mind, during the first 6 months or year, when capacity starts to dip, that might be the moment when this gets launched. Or if they know we're not quite ready to launch the passport program, you might see ticket bundles that go out, because one way or the other, they are going to try to keep the park at a capacity that makes it most profitable for them. So the passport will roll out when it's time to get more people into the park. Multi-day tickets might be a bridge when they know we're just in a slump, but holidays coming up and we don't need to bring in the passport just yet. And then the other idea is, how will the passports work? Will there be a limited amount of these sold? Will you have to get on a wait list to obtain a passport? It would seem if the old passport system that had too many users flooded the park, they might pull back a little bit on how many of these are available, or maybe the reservation system makes it to where they can sell as many as they possibly can, knowing that little adjustments like raising the price and saying, hey, no more monthly payments would be just enough to get them under that threshold they need to be at. It's going to be very interesting to see how all this rolls out, and I'll keep doing news videos on it because this affects me. This affects how I Disney, and I cannot believe how much hatred there are for us, the pass holders. I've been called a pass hole so many times in the last week. Like, there are people that are literally Happy to see the AP program fall apart and get crushed. So I'm happy to say we're back. You didn't get rid of us yet. We may be the roaches of Disneyland, but we're the ones that are always there supporting the park. So we're not going away. So friends, thank you so much for watching this video. Could you maybe do me a favor and give it a like or leave a comment, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I do go live from the Disneyland Resort every Tuesday, and every Friday I do a news live stream where we can hang out and talk about the news. And if you have questions about this or want to have your opinion heard, I try to do a really good job of getting in as many questions and giving very detailed answers. You should check out one of my live streams. And hey, while we're at it, while we're redoing the annual pass program, can we come up with a better design? I've always found this design to be quite insulting, quite embarrassing. I wouldn't mind having this in my wallet, but this just looks like I belong to a weird gym. So yeah, while I'm making requests, how about a brand new sleek design, or maybe a way to upload your own image to the passport? How fun would that be? All right, friends, until the next time I see you standing at the AP only entrance with your passport in hand, I'll see you back here on the channel with more Disneyland news. Thank you so much for watching.